Live. Hello, everyone. Welcome live to 3Y TV tonight's broadcast of the Total Nonstop Racing League for the Polyhedral Cathedral 172 at the Daytona International Speedway. I'm Peter Short, and joining me in the booth here tonight for race number 1 of the chase for the Thornton Graphix Grand National Series title, Garrett Gleason. And Garrett, great to be back at the beautiful 2.5 mile Daytona International Speedway just outside of Daytona Beach. You see the beautiful international airport there on the backstretch as well, but all the action will be happening here tonight on the famed Super Speedway.
It's always exciting to come to Daytona. It's one of the sport's biggest races, biggest events we have in TNR, and it's a good way to kick off our chase. And I can't wait to see what type of show these guys put on for us up here in the booth and our fans on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be one heck of a good show here tonight as we get some of these drivers rolling out there onto the racetrack here, Garrett. And we're looking at the number 99 machine of Philip Scott right here. Of course, the latest news here in the series is that that number 99 machine of Philip Scott able to race his way in to the Thornton Graphix chase by winning last week in a unbroadcasted event that we had at the beautiful Rockingham Speedway up there in the Carolinas. And you know what? Philip, in that number 99 machine, got the bright orange tape to show for it here tonight, Garrett. I think a lot of people will be keeping our eyes on Philip throughout this chase to see what he can do with this opportunity he's been given.
Yeah, Peter, without a doubt, Philip is one of the most talented drivers that we have in this league. It's just a matter of him putting everything together at the right time. And even as he was racing last week, we kept telling him, Philip, you have this. You have the best car. Just do not beat yourself. You're going to win this race. And he pulled it off. And that is a tremendous-looking number 99. And as you alluded to, they have the orange color signifying that they're in our chase. So we'll have to keep an eye out for those drivers tonight, especially.
Yeah, of course, a little bit different here this week. We have open qualifying to also talk about as we see one of the other drivers in the chase. That is the number 28 machine of Tom Johnston, running a very, very patriotic number 28 Toyota Camry here tonight. Of course, just a few days past the 20-year anniversary of September 11th. And Garrett, it's kind of crazy. We're racing with some people nowadays in these leagues that weren't even born in 9/11, and of course we got a lot of drivers, however, who were, and a couple of the patriotic schemes right there with the 28 and the number 50 nose to tail.
Beautiful patriotic paint schemes, and Peter, you're right. I wouldn't believe it's been 20 years since 9/11, but my hairline and my gut will remind me every day that it's definitely been 20 years, and my best days are behind me.
I wouldn't say that. We were just talking before the start of the show that you think you're starting to finally figure out iRacing a little bit, so maybe your best iRacing days are ahead of you. Something to look forward to there, G, as you see the field catching up to Anthony DeBarro right there in the number 27 DeBarro Sliders machine, as they're really trying to get after it here in this open qualifying session. You can see that as of right now, Garrett, Josh Gerlach in the number 71 machine. They like to call him Garlic. He's currently atop the board with a 46.93, but I'm sure those lap times will continue to fall here in this relatively short qualifying session.
Only 5 minutes for qualifying here, Peter, and it's important for these guys that are in the chase to try to get these bonus points, because in the Total Nonstop Racing League, we do give bonus points out for the pole sitter. So if I was one of those guys, I definitely, if I had teammates, I would have them get out ahead of me and try to suck up to them as I was coming to the line and get a huge run and try to put down an incredible lap. I see some guys lagging back. Let's see if they're able to jump to the top of the board before this is all said and done.
Your top 5 times are currently atop the board and atop your screen with Garlic, Edwards, Borsch, Chambrone, and Tim Johnston, your top 5. As this group right here, by far the biggest group of the different qualifying groups. In fact, we have a couple of drivers who are out there right now, like Daniel Buttafuoco, yet to put in a lap time, although we'll see Buttafuoco this time, see if he sets the time. We got John Borsch there going below the yellow line a little bit. He's pulling out of this draft, but look at Anthony DeBarro, the number 27. He's now in this group, solidly in this group, now up to second on the scoreboard.
Now, Peter, I'll ask you the question, since I don't have any experience running for a championship. if you were running for our championship this season and we went to a track like Daytona, what would your strategy be? Would you try to get up front and stay up front, or would you be conservative, stay at the back, and try to collect points and be there at the end?
I think it's one of those things where in the opening 15, 20 laps, you just got to feel out what's going on with the competition around you. If they're really racy, they're dicing things up at the front, you might want to drop back. You might want to just say, hey, you know what? Let's try and make a move back towards the front of the group if we get close to green flag pit stops. If you don't get close to green flag pit stops, as you see, this group, checkered flag is out. Josh Garlick, they call him. It will be the fastest man in qualifying. But for me, I would call my card after the first 15 or 20 laps. See how they're racing. You don't need to race hard in your first 15, 20 laps here at Daytona, Garrett. It won't win you the race if you lead lap number 15. You want to lead lap number 69. 69 is the magic number here tonight. That is the last lap of the race here in the Polyhedral Cathedral 172. And for a lot of these drivers, it is all about getting to the checkered flag first. And like I said, lap number 15, lap number 30, even lap number 68, Garrett, do not mean anything when it comes to the end of the race. It's all going to come down to the last couple of laps here at Daytona International Speedway. It always does. And if I'm one of those drivers, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious here tonight. But if you're someone like Philip Scott, Garrett, who kind of got in just by winning that one race, that last chance qualifier that we had, he might think about maybe, possibly, racing just a little bit harder than some of these other drivers here tonight. Let's see if we can, sure enough, bring up tonight's starting lineup, Garrett. We didn't have a whole lot of drivers take actual time here tonight at the Daytona International Speedway, but let's see if we can go through them here for the starting grid for the Polyhedral Cathedral 172. Josh Gerlach will be starting on the pole in the number 71 machine. Anthony DeBarro alongside him. It is a Dizzy Motorsports 1-2. How many times have we seen that this season? Bill Edwards in the number 50 and John Borst will make up row number 2. Nick Chambrone, Tim Johnston, row number 3. Jason Freeman, Casey Miller, row number 4. J.D. Laird and Daniel Buttafuoco there, Garrett, rounding out our top 10.
Starting 11th, one of the wild men of TNR, John Cannizzaro, next to Ninja Phil, who will be exciting to watch as he comes up through the field. Chris Gabot in 13th place. Kevin Stone in 14th place. He is running for our Dash for Cash tonight. Nick Cohan, that's a weird starting spot for him in 15th. Usually we see him a little further up towards the front. Robert Kenny, good super speedway racer, in 16th. Shane Ewing, who I was told before the race wants to be called the Fat Dale Jr., that's his words, not mine, in 17th. Jason Gracias brings the number 1 into 18th position. Steven Doziak, my teammate, sorry I'm leaving you hanging, bud, in 19th. And Vinny Valvano in 20th, Peter.
Yeah, you're just leaving those teammates hanging. I've known that before, being one of Garrett. No, I'm just messing with you there, Garrett. But down there in the 21st position here tonight will be Bob Giaquinto. Of course, he's my teammate usually up here in the 3-wide TV booth. He's leaving me hanging as we have a little bit of a role reversal here this week as the Polyhedral Cathedral number 23 machine out there on the racetrack here tonight. Tristan Maher will roll off 22nd with Garrett Gleason alongside me, not in his race car, so the whole inside row will move up a spot. But Matthew Rodriguez, Garrett, got that win last night here in the Total Nonstop Racing League Super Speedway Series. He's trying to back that up here again in the Grand National Series tonight at Daytona. Briar Fritz, Justin White out of race admin, won't be starting the race here tonight. Kyle Lewis, Stephen Kegman, they will move up to 25th and 26th spot. Benjamin Fanning and Jason Shu round out the 30 cars that we have here tonight. Benjamin Fanning, another Texan like myself. Looking forward to see what he can do here tonight, making, I believe, not quite his Total Nonstop Racing League debut, Garrett, but he hasn't been here for quite a few races, so it'll be fun to see him here on the high banks here tonight.
He's another one of those guys that shows up to Total Nonstop Racing and blows the graphic design right out of the water. He has a beautiful looking number 96 tonight, and he has a lot of cars to pass. We'll see how much fun he has. I just want to go back to Jason Shu starting at 30th. Jason's becoming a very good plate racer, and I imagine by the end of the night he's going to pass a lot of cars as well.
We are hearing that Bill Edwards, the driver of the number 50, the Silent Syndicate Racing Chevy Camaro, will be dropping to the tail end of the field. We've seen him have some connection issues here. In fact, there is proving that point. So he's going to voluntarily drop to the tail end of the field. Hopefully those connection issues sort themselves out, Garrett. I know it's raining where you are. It might be raining where Bill is. And, of course, environmental things sometimes affect the internet connection, and hopefully Bill can get it all sorted before the time the checkered flag falls here tonight. But speaking of flags falling, Garrett, the green flag is about to fall on the field as the iRacing pace car heads down onto pit road. Field is in the hands of Josh Gerlach. They call him Garlic, as the Vampires are not out front here tonight because Garlic is out front. He leads us off towards turn number 1, Garrett.
Looks like a pretty smooth start so far, Peter. We have Jason Freeman lagging back a little bit in the inside lane. He should get quite the run here through 1 and 2 as we look pretty smooth on these opening 2 turns.
Things going relatively smooth. You see the back half of the pack starting to maybe spread out just a little bit, but riding on board with Tim Johnson. You get a good look at the back of John Borth's number 0 Toyota Supra as they head towards turn number 3 and 4. And Garrett, right now these cars just about up to full race speed as they blast their way through 180 miles an hour, coming to complete lap number 1.
Yeah, lap number 1 almost in the books here, Peter. Looks like we're not going to have a lap 1 incident like we have the past couple of weeks, it seems like. But I ran practice with these guys. Seemed like there was a possibility of there being a 2-car breakaway. We will have to see. There was a little bit of a bubble with the new update, at least from my experience. I'm not pretending to be the best driver out there, but just something for us to keep an eye on as this race goes on, Peter, if maybe 2 guys could pull away from the big pack.
Yeah, we will have to see. Benjamin Fanning in the number 96 machine is the car on the right-hand side of your screen, just now coming off pit road. Benjamin started from the pit lane and is already 1 lap down. We'll be needing a lucky dog to get back onto the lead lap here tonight in the Polyhedral Cathedral 172 here at Daytona. But these drivers just trying to find a little bit of a rhythm here early on, Garrett. They're not racing all too hard, and so far minding their P's and Q's.
Well, that's the thing as me, like being the series administrator. I just want people to mind their P's and Q's. People are racing for a championship. That's more important than winning the race on lap 3 like we talked about before. So right now, get in your groove, see how your car's handling, make sure there's guys around you that you can trust, that when the time comes, you know that guy's going to keep his car straight and you could push him either to the win or help yourself get to the win.
So right now, speaking of being pushed to the front, Anthony DeBarro getting a little bit of help from John Borth and the number 28 machine. Right back behind him, Tim Johnson. And then, of course, there's the 05 just a little bit further back behind him. That's Casey Miller in the black Chevrolet with the blue flames on it right there on the center of your screen. So far, so good for Casey riding inside the top 10. J.D. Laird up there in the 8th position. Nick Cohan and John Cannizzaro, a couple of drivers to really watch out for here tonight, Garrett. I know we mentioned John Cannizzaro there in that number 58. R.C. Cola running a Buddy Baker-inspired scheme on his Ford Mustang. He's one to watch out for here on these super speedways. He's one of those that really, if you were to put a tag on him, it'd be something like a little bit of a wild child, because Cannizzaro is one of those who can really pop up in certain situations.
Yeah, it's weird to see him on track and see his car mostly straight and pointed in the right direction, because every other time I've been on track with him or in the broadcast when we were watching him at Chicago, I believe it was, his car was sideways the whole race and he was still passing guys.
Yeah, John Cannizzaro is a wheelman, and so far so good, riding just inside the top 10. And there, of course, is the number 21 of Nick Cohan, sporting the Nick Sucks machine. And of course, Garrett, just a little while ago, we had the DizzyMerch.com race. In fact, that was the last race we had here on 3Wide TV. And I have to say, he's got a ton of that Nick Sucks merchandise. We got a bunch of people rooting him on in one way or another in the chat. So that Nick Sucks machine looking pretty good. In fact, let's jump over to the chat here just for a brief moment. Kyle Lewis in the chat here tonight. Hondo Longmire in the chat. Bronson Ferry in the chat. Rooting on Bob Giaquinto here tonight. Ryder Lee Angle rooting on Philip Scott. And guys, how are you guys doing here in the chat tonight? Hopefully you are all doing well. It's been a couple of weeks since we last saw you here on 3Y TV. Of course, last week with the Last Chance Qualifier, not an official race, but nonetheless, Garrett, it, from the sounds of things, was a very, very good race.
It was a very good race, and it was a very fun race, and it honestly went down to the wire, Peter. And believe it or not, the old number 7 machine was actually, I think I might have restarted on the second row, and I felt like if all the leaders wrecked, who knows, I could have been racing for a championship, but Philip definitely deserved to be in here, as we're riding on board with Kevin Stone, one of our Polyhedral Cathedral Dash for Cash drivers.
Yeah, Kevin trying to work his way up. He's started in the 14th spot, now riding in 12th, just behind Daniel Botafuco. So Kevin running the Desert Hobbies look here tonight, and good looking ride on that number 14 machine. Now, we used to see his teammate out there a couple of weeks back, but unfortunately, the teammate has, I think, finally said, you know what, iRacing, and we'll kind of come back to it at some point, for at least for right now. Todd Kirkwood not out there on the racetrack, as looks like that number 14 of Kevin Stone going toe-to-toe with the number 32 right there of Shane Ewing. Ewing started all the way back in 17th, now running in the 13th spot. And who is that? Garrett, bright green machine, you can't miss it. That's Chris Cabot in that number 48, really looking like you can't miss it. Looking a bit like a highlighter out there.
In 2009, as many of you guys know, when I did paint schemes for NASCAR, the idea was always to go with the brightest colors you could find. Dayglow green, Dayglow yellow, Dayglow orange. Anything that make that sponsor stick out. And Chris definitely has it with his Goon Motorsports machine right there.
Yeah, kind of running that green that I used to run there, Garrett, on the Menards car here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. So kind of good to see that bright green back out there on the racetrack here in the series. Let's look a little bit further back to this pack, Garrett. These are the drivers maybe just pacing themselves a little bit. In this group right here, we got Steven Doziak, Vincent Valvano in this group, Bob Giaquinto, Kyle Lewis, Briar Fritz, and Bill Edwards. Looks like Edwards still having connection issues. Wow, look at that. The number 50, again having connection issues. That is not good. Not sure what's up with the number 50 here tonight, but unfortunately, things not looking all too good. And there's the number 96 machine. That is Benjamin Fanning. One lap down in the red, black, and yellow 96 that you see up there on the top side. A little bit further back, you got the number 3 Jason Chu back there. Then Robert Kenny leads Tristan Maher, Matthew Rodriguez, and Stephen Kegman. So 27 drivers on the lead lap. Only Benjamin Fanning out there on the racetrack in 28th is one lap down. But Kegman currently at the tail end of the field. But you know what, Garrett? Oh no, Benjamin Fanning in the wall. And the number 96 machine, that looks like a hardware failure. That wheel is completely turned sideways. He's going to come down into the grass. Not sure what happened there, Garrett. But the number 96 machine right now is in the infield grass. We stay green flag. Let's see if we can see exactly what might have happened here that led to this contact. And I'm thinking that this might have been a little bit of, we're not going to be able to see it. It was definite connection troubles on Benjamin Fanning. I'm wondering if he kind of put himself up there in the wall to stay out of the way while his connection troubles happened. But I know where Benjamin is. He's getting a lot of rain, and looks like he, for right now, will be off the racetrack. Let's go back up to the front of the field because things have been changing up there, Garrett. People starting to get a little bit racy, and Jason Gracias from 18th on the grid is your new race leader. Nick Cohan in the number 21, the Nick Sucks Toyota Supra right there now, trying to take the lead away from Jason Gracias, as these drivers were 3 wide there briefly, but they're back to 2 wide, mixing things up at the front of the field.
You know, Jason Gracias, you and I have known forever. He's this soft-spoken, articulate guy, and you love the guy. He's a great guy, but he's as crazy as Kim Jong-un with a nuclear weapon when it comes to super speedway racing. He is just a maniac out there. But I'm not surprised to see him running up front, pushed by the 27 of Anthony DeBarro.
Yeah, and a little bit possible 3 wide there briefly a moment ago with Shane Ewing. In fact, Ewing's still looking like he might be taking it 3 wide as they head towards turn number 1, and sure enough, they do. Ewing on the high side, Boris in the middle, Josh Gerlach, your pole sitter, down there on the yellow line. They continue to run 3 wide out of the corner. Now, Ewing going to be able to get a huge run with all that momentum on the top side, pulled to the back bumper of Anthony DeBarro. So Ewing has just pulled himself from about 7th up to 2nd in about 3/4 of a lap. Very impressive there, Garrett. Maybe that high line is working a little bit better than it usually does here at Daytona with this most recent iRacing update.
Absolutely, Peter. That's a very accurate observation. And as someone who ran a bunch of practice laps behind the number 32, he seemed to be one of those guys that was able to see the air and know when to make the right moves, as pretty much the entire, looks like the top 7 other than Jason Gracias are Disney Motorsports guys. So definitely that team strategy was get to the front and stay up the front, but Jason Gracias has a little something to say about it right now.
Long race here tonight, 69 laps. We are working lap number 13 here tonight on 3 Wide TV. Want to thank each and every one of you in the chat. WX Fanning says, weird, the screen just went off. That is very tough luck. You know, here in iRacing, Garrett, we don't have random engine failures. I mean, to a certain extent we do. But we don't have randomized other failures, but sometimes your monitor will turn off, sometimes your computer will lose connection, sometimes your computer will blue screen while you're in the middle of the race. It's hardware and software issues that we fight in the sim racing community, and sometimes they randomly come out and grab you, but unfortunately, here tonight, it is not going to be the finish that Benjamin Fanning was hoping for here at the Daytona International Speedway in the Polyhedral Cathedral 172. You see the field pretty much 2x2 all the way back to John Cannizzaro in the 15th position back there. Philip Scott tagging onto this lead group. Then you have a small gap back to Jason Freeman, and then a bigger gap back behind Jason Freeman to these drivers that we highlighted a little while ago: Vincent Valvano, Steven Doziak, Bob Giaquinto, Kyle Lewis in this gang. But they're kind of just keeping tabs with that front pack here, Garrett, just not letting them get too far away, but at the same time, they don't want to get too close themselves in case there's a big accident up towards the front, which leads us to say, let's say those 3 most famous words in super speedway racing, the big one here tonight, Garrett. I think that's going to be a question, and we'll probably put up a poll here in the chat. When do we think we're going to see the big one here at Daytona? Will we see the big one? Because we know these drivers here in the Total Nonstop Racing League know how to get their way around these super speedways well.
We know that our guys in this league run clean. For the most part, even when they're trying to wreck each other, we pretty much stay clean in green. But I think when the mat comes down to it at the end, Peter, there will be a big one as we're coming to the checker. But I'm not surprised to see this green flag run. I won't be surprised to see green flag pit stops. Although, keep your eyes peeled when those green flag pit stops start happening to see if there's any issues with guys getting the pit road, brakes locking up, getting run over, that sort of thing. And just to go back to, we're talking about the multiple packs here, where Jason Freeman is right now, that to me is the ideal spot. You're behind the first pack, ahead of the second pack. You still have enough time to slow down and not get run over, but you're not losing touch with the leader. So when pit stops come, you'll be able to keep your track position for the most part.
Yeah, new poll has been put up in the chat. So if you're watching along right now and you want to have your say on when the big one's going to happen here tonight at Daytona International Speedway, well, now you have an opportunity to do so. The options are lap 15 to 30, 30 to 45, 45 to 60, or 60 to 69 plus. So we want to hear you have your say here tonight. But up at the front, it is now Tim Johnson who's worked his way up to the front. And look at Chris Cabot in that number 48 machine there, Garrett. He's now worked his way up to the 3rd position, the 2nd car in line on the high side. J.D. Laird in this gang of cars as well up at the front of the field. Great to see that really these positions are cycling, Garrett, which is good to see. Usually when you come to a super speedway race, you either get 1 or 2 leaders for the majority of the race, or you kind of get what we see right now where no one's really able to hold on to the race lead. But things really have been cycling on through, and that makes it very exciting for the folks back at home, because every time they look back up at the 3 Wide TV scoreboard, they will see someone else up towards the front of the field here as John Cannizzaro now on the 58 machine works his way up into the top 5. So, wow, things really shuffling around here pretty quickly. And we want to hear who you're rooting for here tonight as the field flashes on by the Turn 2 camera.
Certainly be sure to give us a like, guys. That helps a ton. And I'm surprised, Peter, it seems like the high lane is the favorite lane so far. But although the bottom lane's starting to make a liar out of me as they all gang up on the bottom to make me look bad going into, where we at, 3?
Yeah, Chris Cabot and J.D. Laird working together on that bottom line to get Cabot up to the front, but now here comes Laird to the high line, and we saw a strong push there by John Cannizzaro running the very high line to pull level with the race lead before Cabot and Laird were able to duck down to the bottom side to make the pass. But you're right, Garrett, that high line looking very strong here tonight, which is very good for racing. When that high line is strong, it definitely promotes more opportunities to pass. You see some drivers here on super speedways who just love to run the bottom. That's about all they run. In fact, back in the NASCAR Racing 2003 season days, Garrett, you remember those days where we used to have those rules of no low lining until 2 laps to go, and you could not run the low line continuously because the low line was just overpowered. But now here in iRacing, in this setup that we have here tonight, that high line looking very strong, maybe we'll see drivers just kind of run that high line and stick on that high line. I don't know. Only time will tell. As looks like maybe Anthony DeBarro backing out just a little bit. As look at Daniel Buttafuoco in the number 30 Garrett. Big run to the back bumper of the number 58 of Cannizzaro. He had to check up just a little bit to avoid running into the back of the 58, because you and I know the wrong place to give a car a bump draft is on entry to turn number 1 or turn number 3. It's possibly when these cars are the most light.
I was very nervous for the number 30 there, Peter, but you could see his talent level. He knew that wasn't the right move to make there and backed off. When you're running for a championship, there's no need to make it 3 wide on lap 20. So, but it's good to see Daniel slowly making his way to the front, which is where we're used to seeing him run. As it looks like Jason Gracias is getting one heck of a push from Kyle Lewis in that 3rd lane there, Peter.
Yeah, Kyle Lewis in the number 18 machine now inside the top 10. So he was one of those drivers a little while ago, Garrett, who was laying back, just waiting for that front group to kind of race themselves out. They did so, and now Lewis has worked his way inside the top 10 as we are side by side for about the first 10 cars. Bill Edwards also has worked his way up towards the top 10. He's still been having some connection issues, been keeping an eye on the Silent Syndicate Racing Chevy Camaro, but with the way this field is getting just a little bit spread out, he's had the opportunity to make some passes, being very patient here tonight in the number 50 Chevy Camaro, as a gap now developing between Edwards and the lead train, as Cannizzaro will come across the lead lap number 21. Garrett, we're closing in on the 1/3 race distance already, as we have been clean and green here at Daytona. And of course, in just a little bit, we'll have to start talking about the fuel window. Garrett, usually here with a full tank of fuel, it's somewhere around 30 to 35 laps. So maybe we'll see just one stop here tonight, assuming this race goes caution-free. Only time will tell.
The drivers are running an 85% tank tonight, so I definitely expect pit stops coming up here shortly. I don't expect guys to take tires right now unless they're planning on getting away from the field and hoping for a wreck, but we'll see in a couple laps here, Peter, as it looks like guys are minding their P's and Q's and getting in line for the most part behind the lead group.
Yeah, so side by side for about the first 8 to 10 cars, and then mainly single file back behind them all the way back to driver of the number 22, who is, of course, Steve Kegman. Winner here a couple of seasons ago. Garrett knows how to get the job done here at Daytona, and I'm sure he's not all too concerned about where he is right now in the race. He's got plenty of time to work his way up to the front. We've seen drivers like Bill Edwards, like Kyle Lewis, work their way up towards the front of the field. In fact, let's see if he can go on board with driver of the number 18 machine. 4th car on the high line, giving a big push now to Jason Gracias in the MaxGraphics.co Toyota Supra as they go across the start-finish lane.
I'm not used to seeing Kyle run in the second groove. Usually he likes to get to the bottom, but I think he's realized that this top groove's working, He has a good partner in the number 1 car of Jason Gracias, who has proven time and time again he knows how to get to the front at these places, and he's going to stick with them. And I expect Kyle Lewis to be there at the end. Now, what line he'll be running at the end, I guess we'll see. It all depends on where his friends are, but I can't say I'm surprised seeing Kyle having a good run early here at Daytona.
Yeah, Kyle is definitely having a good run. So far, he would be the biggest mover of the race. Started in 26th position, now running up inside the top 6. So things looking really good for that number 18 Toyota Supra out there. Lots of Chevys and lots of Toyotas, not a whole lot of Ford Mustangs here in Total Nonstop Racing League, although you do have John Cannizzaro Jr. in the number 58 pushing to try and get himself to the race lead. Next Ford that you would find would be right there, Kevin Stone in the number 14 Desert Hobbies Mustang with the number 99 back behind him. And one surprising omission here tonight, Garrett, is the number 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier not in the race. Usually you see him working with the number 98 and the number 99, but Floppy not here tonight at Daytona.
Well, there's never going to be a Total Nonstop Racing race at Daytona that Mike's not here, at least in spirit. So, Mike, we're thinking about you. I hope all is well. We definitely miss having the Canadian Dale Earnhardt out here on track. Hope to see you next week, buddy.
Yeah, that is for sure. And, of course, we have, a couple of other drivers not out there on the racetrack here tonight. One of those is Johnny Williams, who is in the chat. Johnny, hopefully the tropical storm doesn't lay down all too much rain for you. Things have been a little bit rough for you over the past, the last little while, and hopefully things can kind of turn your way. But Johnny, great having you in the chat here tonight. Bronson Ferry, let's see if we can check out his buddy, and of course 3YTV's own Bob Giaquinto right now. There is Bob in the Polyhedral Cathedral, number 23 here tonight, working his way around the racetrack in the 24th position. So almost calling his number right now as he heads through the trial wall, running behind another driver who's been up here in the 3YTV booth before. That, of course, being Steven Doziak in the number 55, and a little bit of a new look on that number 55. We saw a couple of weeks back that he debuted that new scheme there, Garrett, and right now running in the 23rd spot.
I hope Doze didn't pay for that scheme, Peter, because I've seen better. That's all I'm saying. But these boys at the back here, these are my boys, my friends, my field fillers, we call each other. And they're just pretty much wasting time out there. Stay on the lead lap, keep the car clean, and stick together. Because, a group of 5 or 6 misfits could work together and get this win at the end if they stick together. And please don't show the 22 on camera again, because I have nothing nice to say about him. Because I was always taught that as a child. If you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything.
My goodness. Well, we won't show the number 22 for the rest of the night. Even if he ends up going to victory lane, no interviews for Kegman. You heard it here first, folks. Let's go check out the chat. Stay tuned. Sports jumping on in. Logan Skelton saying that's a nice number of laps you have there. Nice, isn't it? Very nice. There's no nicer number of laps than 69, but we do have a nice battle for the race lead. In fact, why don't we have a number 69 car leading the race? Wouldn't that be something? 69 car leading and winning a 69 lap race. I don't think there would be anything fitting. Maybe, well, I just won't go there. But anyway, John Cannizzaro in the number 58 machine is your race leader. Buttafuoco right back behind him. And then you have the number 1 leading that high line with Kyle Lewis. Garrett, they're still nose to tail. You said Kyle Lewis prefers the inside line, but he's sticking with the number 1 Gracias, at least for now, as this field continues to kind of get strung out here. You see Philip Scott in the number 99, the blue number 99, of course, with the orange trim, indicating that he is one of the drivers in the chase for the Total Nonstop Grand National Series Thornton Graphix Cup. In fact, let's highlight those drivers in the Thornton Graphix chase. One of those is right there, the number 30 of Daniel Buttafuoco, inside the top 3 right now. Then you have to go back to Tim Johnson in the number 28. Of course, he's one of those drivers who has been so good this season, running a very patriotic scheme. He's running in 8th. Then you got Philip Scott and John Bortz in 9th and 10th spot. And then you have to go a couple of cars back behind. Tristan Maher is in 13th. You see him right there running behind Robert Kinney in the number 34, the Wingstop number 34, who is so far putting on a pretty quiet night. But then back behind Tristan Maher here, Garrett, you have to go back to Anthony DeBarro. He's running in the 16th position. Nick Cohan in the number 21 is back there in the 19th position. So a couple of these drivers in the chase for the Thornton Graphix Cup here going to have to try and work their way up towards where Daniel Buttafuoco is, who now slides into second outright, as this field finally is getting pretty single file.
Peter, I was amazed before we went through the field there with the run that just the two cars on the top, the number 1 and the number 18 had on that entire bottom lane. So that strength of the high line, like we keep alluding to, is definitely there. Seems like the Tristan Maher teammates that he's been running with, all of a sudden they're trying to move towards the front here as we close in on pit stops. The Dizzy Motorsports guys showed their might early and they went back. It's just an interesting comings and goings as we go through a super speedway race, I suppose.
You see the field now pretty much, like I said, getting single file. These drivers, you mentioned Garrett, possibly starting to think about coming down pit road here quite soon. Just waiting to be low on fuel, head down pit road, hit your marks. Because you and I know, Garrett, at a super speedway race, coming down pit road and missing your marks or speeding on pit road, disaster. I mean, it's bad at most other racetracks, but at a super speedway, if you lose the draft, your day can be done. You don't have the opportunity to get a lucky dog or something like that, get yourself back in the game on the lead lap, or have an opportune caution. Your entire race can come down to coming on and off pit road. So I didn't see a whole lot of drivers practice that in the practice session. Garrett, how does that go through a driver's mind?
Well, Peter, like you said, that you want to practice that. And if you haven't run a super speedway race in a while, that should be one of the things you do before this practice session's over. Practice is up for 90 minutes. You find the time to make a green flag pit stop and hopefully make a green flag pit stop, a mock green flag pit stop with people that you're going to be racing with. Because if you remember I believe it was a couple seasons ago, we had a race at Talladega and some of our dirt guys joined the field and we had to make green flag pit stops, and I think 4 of them blew right through the grass and hit other cars, and it was chaotic. Don't take pit stops for granted and don't take it lightly. Make sure your brake bias is where you need it during practice so you won't have an issue under green during the race. And also these guys will be calling out, I'm going on the inside, I'm going on the outside. You try to coordinate so when you get to pit road, you're not running into each other. So communication is key at Daytona as much as it is anywhere else.
Interestingly enough as well, we are closing in on half distance here at Daytona. What does that mean? Well, if these drivers can make it to the cross flags, that means they only have to make one pit stop here tonight. And I'm also starting to see 2 distinct groups forming. This first group led by John Cannizzaro, and then you have another group further back led by Anthony DeBarro. Will we see takers on pit road this time? No, we will not. So that will put 34 laps in the rear, and that means that the entire field can make it on just one pit stop here tonight, Garrett. That is a little bit surprising to me. I was expecting maybe these drivers to be on pit road 4 to 5 laps ago. But the way this race is panning out, these drivers being single file, which is the most efficient way to run around this racetrack, Garrett, is all the drivers in single file. If you're one of the cars in the middle of the pack, not necessarily if you're the leader. But, take that away, all these drivers made it to the cross flags, which was technically halfway down the backstretch that time. Now, I think we're going to start to see these drivers come down pit road. And here we go. Just as I say it, we got our first group. We got Cannizzaro coming in, Breyer Fritz coming in. Fritz hard on the brakes. Jason Gracias on pit road, as well as Kyle Lewis. So 4 takers on pit road here, Garrett. That will open up our pit window.
Sometimes it pays to be the earliest group. And there's a yellow out, Peter. We might have to check that out.
And it's Daniel Buttafuoco, the number 30 machine. Indeed, the number 30 was involved, a little bit of damage, and caution flag is out for the first time here tonight, so maybe we will not see green flag pit stops for the majority of the field. Let's see if we can see what happened here with the driver who was actually your race leader, JD Laird, right back behind him. And, ooh, just a bad bump, and whoa, Buttafuoco, what a save, and oh, man, couple of other chase drivers involved. Phillips got involved in it. In the number 99 machine, I also saw Tim Johnson in the number 28 get involved. Garrett, that could be championship implications if these drivers are badly damaged. Hopefully they're not. Doesn't exactly look like they're badly damaged at initial glance. Let's see what happened here. Phillips Scott running right behind Tim Johnson. Laird comes up the racetrack. Johnson gets into him, and man, Johnson hits one. Briar Fritz, another one of your chase drivers involved in that one. It took out 4 of your 7. Garrett, could you have put a target on chase drivers any more than that?
That was just a crazy set of circumstance, Peter, and I can't take any pride in that happening. But we definitely said earlier in the race that when pit stops start happening, stuff like that could happen, and it did happen. I bet you Daniel and JD have drafted thousands of laps at super speedway races as teammates, and that's probably never happened. If maybe it happened once or twice, even in practice, who knows? But to have that happen when you're leading and then collect a couple of their cars, it's not a good feeling, and I'm sure those guys are heartbroken, and nobody feels worse than the 46 does for trying to help his teammate and that happened to them.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy for that to happen between teammates there right before pit stops. But that just shows you, Garrett, they were trying to get everything they could get out there on the racetrack to put themselves in a good position to get on pit road, get off pit road, and now both of those drivers are damaged. Doesn't look like Daniel Buttafuoco has a whole lot of damage. That's the good news for the driver of the number 30 machine, but same cannot be said for some of the other chase drivers involved. We saw Tim Johnston have not only 1 but 2 heavy contacts there. We saw John Borst run into the back of JD Laird in the number 0 machine. Looks like Buttafuoco's already down and away, so that's good news for driver of the number 30 as he will start to roll off. But how about some of these other drivers? We know DeBarro will be okay because he was well back behind it. Borst is still sitting in his pit box. Tim Johnson's still sitting in his pit box. Philip Scott still in his pit box. JD Laird still in his pit box. So 3 chase drivers here having an extended stay on pit road, Garrett, to fix as much damage as they can, because here at Daytona, getting as much damage fixed as you can is going to be extremely important to your speed.
Absolutely, and it's early enough in the race that you could assume there's going to be more yellows. I know we only had 1 yellow in the first half of the race, but you're going to assume the field gets bunched up here. It's going to be go time to get more yellows. Take these long caution laps as an opportunity. Get as much damage fixed as you can. Now, if you can get it all fixed, that's great. Some of these guys look like they have a lot of damage, probably multiple minutes. You're going to have multiple caution laps here. Get some of it done, catch up, get more of it done, because like you said, you need to have your aero as good as it can be, at least right now, so you're not losing the draft, going a lap down, and having all sorts of other consequences to make your night even worse from the incident that you were just in.
Yeah, so we'll see if we have any. We actually got a couple of other drivers that coming back onto pit road. Not sure what is up with that. Matthew Rodriguez is one of those. Josh Gerlach is coming down pit road. Tristan Maher, Robert Kinney. And the only thing I can think of here, Garrett, is maybe these drivers are thinking about a possible green-white checker, maybe 2 green-white checkers, because we can have multiple green-white checkers here in the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series. Just thinking that maybe they want to come down, top off with a little bit extra fuel. So if the race goes into overtime, maybe them coming back down, topping it off, might just give them a little bit more fuel in the tank to actually make it 1, 2, maybe even 3 green-white checkers. So could be a interesting strategy call and could be the winning call here tonight at Daytona International Speedway. The pace car lights are off. We had hoped to maybe get a quick word with one of those drivers who was involved in that accident, but unfortunately we will be unable to with the iRacing short yellows, which has been a warm welcome for a lot of the drivers, Garrett. When iRacing kind of took that full lap away of pacing at most of the tracks, kind of keeps the intensity up and allows you to get more racing.
Absolutely. iRacing does, I mean, people have their complaints, but iRacing does work hard to give us at least the options of adding pace laps, removing pace laps, and that also helps a ton. So not only do you not have the mandatory lap you were talking about, if it is running long, you could hit the command and remove a lap and get back to green racing, because that's, when you're broadcasting, that's what you want as we're getting ready to go back green here, Peter.
Pace car is heading down pit road. Field will be led by John Cannizzaro. Inside line does not get a good restart. Briar Fritz is going to be all over the back bumper of the number 58 of Cannizzaro, although Cannizzaro slots down in front of Kyle Lewis. And Kyle Lewis and Jason Grossi is still nose to tail. Buttafuoco now will learn how much damage he actually has as he closes up to the back of the number 16 machine. Fritz there not getting a great restart in his Chevy Camaro, but I think now's going to be the interesting time, Garrett, where we find out just how much damage not only does Buttafuoco have, and I think Buttafuoco probably got away with the least amount of damage of the other chase drivers involved in that accident. I mean, we saw a couple of the others. I'm thinking Tim Johnston right here. Granted, he's closing up to J.D. Laird. Laird, we thought, might have had quite a bit of damage, but then we saw, of course, like John Borst. In fact, Borst right there in the number 0, he didn't even catch up to the field for that restart. So Borst, and what has happened? One of our chase drivers, Anthony DeBarro, something has happened to Anthony DeBarro here, Garrett. Let's go on board with driver the number 27 machine. Did he have a money shift? I think he had the money shift in the number 27 machine. There was contact back there on that restart, and oh my goodness, that's what led to that situation. Let's see if we can see that one more time. I think that's what we call the money shift. That 27, he shifted into the wrong gear. The 05 checked up, the 55 did not. And look at Vincent Valvano slicing his way on through. Jason Shu in the number 3 right there tried to slice his way through. Bob Giaquinto, the Polyhedral Cathedral number 23, getting involved in that accident. And John Borst slowing down. That did not bring out the caution. Can you believe that we stayed green? And look at Steven Doziak coming right across the nose of chase driver John Borst. And the iRacing pace car says, nah, bro, I don't want to go back out there on the racetrack. I just want to park it right here. And unfortunately, some key drivers getting quite a bit of damage. And that is night done, believe it or not, for Anthony DeBarro.
Wow, Peter, we did not see that on the restart, and I did not see that coming for the 27 in the first race of the chase here. I figured maybe he would play a conservative, but he's going to have chances to win other races. He just probably wanted to get out of Daytona while getting wrecked by someone, and to have something like that happen, I'm sure he'll say otherwise on our Discord if it was something other than a money shift, but I think he was spot on. A little bit surprised that the yellow wasn't thrown there. It was a multiple car incident, but the race administrator must have decided that the cars were off the track and stay green, as it looks like Daniel Buttafuoco in that 30 has no lingering effects from the incident a few laps ago.
Yeah, it does not look like it. Now, one thing I will say, bottom right of your screen gives you a look of the current track state where all the cars are. You can see how that accident at the back of the pack, that money shift, we do believe, from Anthony DeBarro has broken up the field considerably. As we have more contact! The 48 Gippo, the 16 to Briar Fritz, Nick Chambrone involved, and then Matthew Rodriguez getting involved, as well as the number 98. My goodness, another big accident. Tristan Maher involved, one of our chase drivers in the 3-wide TV Ford Mustang. Garrett, does that count as our big one? That was definitely bigger than the first one, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely bigger than the first one. We'll count it as the big one, but there's still enough cars running that we could have an even bigger one. But hopefully not. Let's check out and see how this yellow transpired here, Peter.
Let's look a little bit further up towards the front of the field. Briar Fritz in the number 16. I think tried to kind of go to the middle, but Gabo was there. They make contact. Look at Josh Gerlach right there. He gets a piece of it. Might have been able to squeak on through. Look at all the other cars towards the back. Kevin Stone, JD Laird kind of trying to find some spot. It's going to be fun to ride on board with Nick Cohan as well. And then we had some drivers back towards the back of the pack just trying to figure out where to go. Oof, my goodness, the 57 of Rodriguez getting involved. And unfortunately went down to pick up some of the other drivers. Oh, that's not right. But yeah, Chris Caboo in that one. We saw the number 34, Robert Kinney, sliding on through. In fact, let's see if we can go on board with one of these drivers, maybe a little bit further back in the pack here, Garrett, and see what these drivers saw. I think this driver might be one of those drivers who I think might remain mentionless without a name, at least based off of oh man, we didn't see, oh my goodness, Jason Freeman, Jason Gracias getting involved. That didn't look good for the number 1 or the other driver there involved, Jason Freeman. Let's see if we can see what happened here. Gracias going way down the racetrack and gets clipped by Gabo right up the racetrack. Man, Nick Cohan, we have to get that on board and just Jason Freeman goes straight into the side of the number 1 machine. I think that's the big one. I think that counts. We'll have to figure out how many winners we had in the chat. That was a very good portion of the field, and unfortunately taking out some very, very fast race cars.
Some very fast race cars. Some guys with chase eligibility and championship eligibility. Easy for everybody else to say. And the biggest tragedy of that all is the 22 getting through that unscathed.
Yeah, right on board with Nick Cohan right here. Cars, contact, more contact. Hello, car. And Nick Cohan able to squeak on through that. So that is definitely advantage to Nick Cohan, one of those drivers who is in the chase. Let's see if we can go on board here with one of the drivers who said, I'm just going to go down to the bottom side of the racetrack, go down to the grass. This is Kevin Stone, who did a little bit of contact there with JD Laird and maybe gave JD the opportunity to need a new pair of underwear, but Kevin, hopefully not a whole lot of damage. I think there you can see visibly a little bit of front end damage on the Desert Hobbies machine, but definitely not as bad as some of the other drivers out there on the racetrack. As we are now back live, you see all those drivers kind of away from the main pack right now, led by the number 30 of Daniel Buttafuoco, including the 34, the 3, the 55, the 000, the 57, the 48, the 20. All those drivers, Garrett, trying to get as much damage as they can get fixed under this caution flag. But unfortunate events for several of our chase drivers.
Here's where that conservative strategy could play out for guys that have been running 25th all night. You just lost half the pack. Half the pack is at least damaged, if not more. They're not going to be as fast as they were. If you kept your stuff clean in a couple more laps when it's go time, you're going to be one of the lead contenders. And all you had to do was ride around and waste time and keep your stuff clean. But it could pay off for some of these guys that we don't expect to win the first race of our chase here, Peter. And just to go back to that accident, I thought the 98 of Tristan Maher had that cleared. I don't know what happened from all the looks. Maybe you saw it and you could explain to me. Did the 57 end up hitting the 98? I didn't see it, but I thought he was clear, and that's a heartbreaker because he's one of those guys I'm rooting for.
Yeah, I believe the number 57 just giving him a little bit of contact and enough to spin around the number 98 machine. But in all that craziness and all those replays, the pace car lights have turned off. So hopefully we can get a little bit better of a restart than we did that last time. Andrew Hibbelman saying maybe Daniel Buttafuoco can go back-to-back on the super speedways. The Compulsive Gambler jumping on in saying, hello everyone, how's it going? The Compulsive Gambler. Hopefully you're enjoying the 3-wide TV action here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. And John Cannizzaro looking like maybe he was going to jump that high line as he had to check up quite a bit. But up at the front, Buttafuoco and Cohan able to get rolling nice and smoothly. Will Shane Ewing drop in behind Nick Cohan? Indeed he will, right in front of Vincent Valvano, who now finds himself inside the top 10. And Garrett, for those drivers not involved in that last accident or the one just before that, like the number 22, who shall remain nameless, per your rules. Hey, you're the boss of the series. What you say goes. But this league right now, what a great race we have left here on 3Y TV in the Polyhedral Cathedral 172. Working lap number 47 of 69 scheduled here tonight, Garrett, as Nick Cohan now finds himself up at the front of the field.
Yeah, Nick Cohan and the Nick Sucks car leading the field. No surprise there. Just surprised anyone's willing to work with him as much as he sucks. I see Vincent Valvano creeping up there towards the top 5 in the 38. He's been quiet, as well as some other guys. And all joking aside about Stephen Kegman, it's no surprise to see him in that 22 Loves Travel stop. I can't tell. Is that a Chevy? Chevy running good. He's been tremendous in our Stadium Truck Series as well. So, hey, let's hope we have a fun finish here, and maybe we can get a first-time winner if all goes well.
And another thing to mention, J.D. Laird is running the Lux scheme. That's right, Lux on the hood of the number 46. And you know what you need to do well here in the Super Speedway, Garrett? You need to have some luck. I wonder if that is what J.D. was going for here tonight at Daytona. Still with quite a bit of damage, however, looks like the number 46 doesn't appear to be that far off on pace, unlike the number 1 machine of Jason Gracias, the MaxGraphics.co Toyota, who's now being sent towards the inside wall and slam bam into it. And unfortunately for Jason, that just goes from bad to worse. Good luck for the rest of that field, and maybe that's that luck we were just talking about on J.D. Laird's Chevy Camaro, that we didn't wad him up there. And I know Gracias was trying to do all he can to kind of stay out of the way, but maybe the inside line not exactly the best option in that particular situation. So Gracias definitely going to fall back even further here tonight. But Shane Ewing in all that madness in the 32, the Rayovac machine, has batteried his way up to the race lead.
Charged his way up to the front, Peter. Probably would have been a better battery reference, but I know you're new at this, so I'll let it slide.
Yeah, you know, it's not like I haven't been doing this for like a year and a half to 2 years or something like that now. Who knows? But you know, that Rayovac machine is up there. The Nick Sucks machine is up there, even though Nick isn't really sucking. Well, there's still plenty of time for Nick to suck here tonight. But ooh, how about this? 3 wide car below the yellow line. That's not good. And J.D. Laird's going to have to wait patiently to get back up towards the legal side of that yellow line. There he goes, back up there. He's going to slide all the way back to 13th. But Garrett, they're getting racy here. There's just under 20 laps to go. Let's go on board here with J.D. Laird and take a lap around the famed Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah, we're watching J.D. Laird here work the high side. Probably not using as much of a run as he could right now after that little crazy apron adventure he had. But again, another driver making a liar out of me as he takes a look here on the 18 of Kyle Lewis, who's now charging back on the bottom. And I see Bob Giaquinto is right behind JD here, keeping his nose clean, and hopefully in a couple more laps it will be go time. But I still think it's too early to go, Peter, and these guys are making me nervous. If I was in the field, I'd be lagging back from this lead pack, knowing that if there's going to be an incident, it's probably going to happen up here.
Yeah, you got Stephen Kegman back here who's like, all right, guys, go have another accident, go take yourselves out. I'm just going to lay back here and let it all play out. As you can see, he's got this bubble around him in that number 22 machine. Just if something does happen up there, he has an opportunity to back off the throttle or make evasive maneuvers. Meanwhile, if you're some of these drivers up here like Nick Chambrone, who has really no space to do anything right now, as the field is catching up to the back of Jason Freeman, and this is going to get very tight here if they can't get too wide, and it looks like they can just in time to get around the slow machine of Jason Freeman. Unfortunately, Freeman is now going to be one lap down in the number 20 machine, just showing just how much damage was done to his race car in that last accident. But Shane Ewing, who charged to the front. There we go. I think I got it right that time, Garrett. Ewing is up at the front. We got Josh Gerlach, who was your pole sitter at the top of the show. And Garrett, we we mentioned that he got a little bit of damage at one point in the All-Race race day number 71, but he's worked his way back up there towards the front of the field, and now working with Ewing, maybe the 71 can try and convert his pole to a win here tonight at Daytona.
It's always interesting to see these comers and goers here at the end, Peter, and it's tough. The dizzy guys, the always race day guys, they got to team up in some way, but if they're running in the top 6, are you necessarily running with the guy you're the best teammates with, or the guy you usually work with the best? You never know. Maybe somebody pushes you better than the other guys, and you're just so happen to be lined up with one of the other teammates that you have. It's gonna be crazy, Peter, and I don't think we're done getting racy yet.
No, I don't think so either, as you got quite a few of those. Dizzy Motorsports machine now inside the top 5. One of those Dizzy Motorsports machine who just, I think, wants to see the checkered flag at this point might be Tim Johnson after being involved in an accident a little while ago. John Borse in the number 0. I thought his night was done, Garrett. Involved not just in one accident, but 2. But that last caution flag he was able to catch. Oh, gets up into J.D. Laird. Laird in the wall. Laird still really loose in the 46. Good save there out of that Chevy Camaro. The luck again on the side of J.D. Laird. But I thought Borst was done, and now he finds himself racing inside the top 10, having a late resurgence of himself. And, of course, one of our Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix chase drivers trying to find a little bit of rhythm here late in the race. We know this race could be a little bit of a wild card, and if they aren't done wrecking, if they start getting really racy, maybe Borst can even force himself up towards the top 5 here before it's all said and done. 14 more laps to go, plus the possibility of green-white checkers. You have to mention it. Maybe by not mentioning it, you're jinxing it, and maybe by saying it, you're jinxing having it. So, you just have to treat things equally when you're up here in the 3-wide TV booth, because sometimes we do bring out the laser gun. Let's check out the chat here tonight. Here, saying we must be best friends in the compulsive gambling avenue. How did your gambling go over the weekend, Garrett? You make bank?
Well, Peter, I had the Giants at the 4 o'clock window, and we all saw how that went. And I have the Raiders right now. I'll let you know in a couple hours. Raiders plus 4, everybody.
All right, well, there you go. We'll see how that goes. Of course, Monday Night Football. We're up against Monday Night Football now here on 3-Wide TV, so we're up against I think we can beat them. Don't you think, Garrett? I think we can beat Monday Night Football. I think that easily. I mean, how many likes does Monday Night Football have here on YouTube? 0. We have 6. Let's see if we can get 10 and beat Monday Night Football by 10 likes. Now, of course, that's legal streams. Because I'm sure there are some illegal streams out there. But anyway, it is what it is here. Total Nonstop Racing on 3-Wide TV, coming now down just to 12 laps to go. Shane Ewing asserting himself as your race leader over the last 5 or so laps. Nick Cohan with a run with Nick Chambrone on the high line. And, of course, John Cannizzaro, a little bit of a wild child up there, the 3rd car on the high line. Got Royal Crown Cola, which is a little bit of a wild child in itself in the cola department. And then you got the 05 back there on the high line as well. Casey Miller, who's been up and down the field, a little bit of damage on his Chevy Camaro. Then a couple other more damaged race cars a little bit further back. And one driver who's still hanging in back there, Garrett, is Tristan Maher in the 3-Wide TV number 98, one of your chase drivers. It doesn't look like he has a square corner of that race car. It's been pretty bashed in here tonight, but so far able to hold on to the lead pack in 15th.
That's all you can ask for if you're Tristan, to just be able to keep the pack within striking distance. And somehow the mechanics on that 98 are doing wonders, because he's within a second of the leader, and still has a chance to win this race. As we see John Cannizzaro, who is trying to make that 3rd lane work by himself, falling back a little bit as the field steamrolls him going down the backstretch.
Yeah, Cannizzaro.
I will say this, boys. Look for your winner to come outside of the top 7 with 10 laps to go.
We just got doze bombed, Garrett.
Yeah, he could have asked for permission before he jumped in. I sent him a text. I said, "You want on air?" He never responded to me. So how are we supposed to know that, Peter?
How are we supposed to know this? But Doziak coming in hot. Doz, you think the winner's going to come from outside the top 7, huh?
Yes, with 10 laps to go, I predict the winner to come outside of the top 7 as we speak right now.
Well, if you're in line with Steven Doziak, that means Shane Ewing, Nick Cohan, Josh Gerlach, Nick Chambrone, Daniel Buttafuoco, the 05 machine there, Casey Miller, and I think, as he called it, it was Vincent Valvano inside the top 7 as well. As now we see Kyle Lewis now running that high line with the number 58 of John Cannizzaro. We're 3 by 3. Now racing for about the 5th position. That high line starting to get formed up with Kyle Lewis and Cannizzaro. Garrett, we've seen that high line be very strong here tonight. And Cannizzaro and Lewis showing everyone that that's true.
Absolutely, Peter. It's nice to see that third lane making moves because, like we alluded to earlier, in NR 2003, that was a struggle even with the track edits. But the thing that always I struggle with running that third line is squaring the guy up. You want to make sure on exit you're pretty much going to square that guy up at the beginning of the straightaway to give him a good shove. And if you're just a little bit off, you're going to turn that guy into the bottom 2 lanes and cause mayhem for everybody.
Yeah, that third line, it's the longest way around the racetrack. You don't have to put as much wheel in the car, but you have to deal with the outside wall. And the reason I say that, even if you don't hit the outside wall, Garrett, you sometimes have to put wheel in to avoid the outside wall. It sounds silly. It sounds easy to go around the outside of the racetrack and be steady, but right there, Nick Chambrone got a little bit close to Kyle Lewis. Lewis had to avoid him, even though that, man, Chambrone and the 05 of Casey Miller, they're getting loose coming out of turn number 2. But it's those situations, Garrett, where you have to do just a little bit of something and you don't have a lot of free space because that's where the outside wall is. And we are definitely getting close up at the front. Oh, Shane Ewing still leads, but my oh my, Josh Gerlach in the 71 got a bad bump from Daniel Buttafuoco. Contact! The 05 of Miller goes sideways. Garlic involved. Cannizzaro goes up into the wall, and 14's involved back there. JD Laird needs a new pair of underwear. I think that's his second one he needs here today, but caution flag is out. That was a big one.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting dicey here. I'm surprised they held on to it for as long as they did, running 3 wide. We're going to take a look back here at the replay and see what started this whole debacle. But, you know, with 7 laps to go, it's kind of time is starting to get racy here.
Yeah, let's see. Let's go up to the blimp cam right here. The 3 wide TV slow-mo right here for everyone to see. Watch the number 58 and the 05. The 58 drifting down the racetrack, contact there with the 05 machine. The 05 of Casey Miller gets into the side of Daniel Buttafuoco. Buttafuoco for the second time here tonight having a long slide on the bottom side of the racetrack. Good news for Buttafuoco. Don't think he was involved all too bad. Look at Tim Johnson, the number 28 machine. He gets completely sideways. The 38 of Vincent Valvano getting a hip check, getting turned up into the wall. Watch the 46 here of JD Laird, folks. Watch that number 46 machine. Keep your eyes on him right here. There's contact right in front of him, and he says, I'm just going to split the gap right here. Slices his way through the 38 and the number 14 machine. Luck is definitely on his side, but luck is also on the side of drivers in front of him. I mean, look at the number 28 of Tim Johnston. I thought maybe his night was done there, but he's able to kind of get through it A-okay. Let's see if we can roll the tape here on board with Tim Johnson. Watch how quickly this happens here, folks, as we head towards the start-finish line. There's that initial contact. Things are still going awry. He gets sideways. There goes Vincent Valvano up into the wall. He's down into the grass, and good job there by Johnson to just kind of find his way through that there, Garrett.
Peter, a lot of guys, 98, 22, 23, they're going to be able to get through this without much of an issue. And just watching the racing before that incident happened, you could kind of sense that the accident was going to happen, but I was really impressed with the 18 and the 58 up on that third lane with just 2 cars. I think if they could have stayed in alignment there, they were going to take that lead just with 2 cars in the top line. That's how good they were doing. But unfortunately, sometimes even the best plans don't work out, Peter.
Yeah, there's Daniel Buttafuoco, who unfortunately went down pit road. In fact, quite a few cars ended up going down pit road. Look at Nick Chambrone there on the left-hand side of your screen. He went for one heck of a ride. Let's see if we can figure out what happened to Nick Chambrone here. Here we go, on board with Chambrone. Go on board, and he gets flipped, I think. In fact, that might have been separate from the first incident. He goes down there into the grass and gets up on 2 wheels. In fact, might have got completely airborne there in the 01 machine before coming back up towards the racetrack. Let's see if we can get one more look at what happened to the 01 machine. Sure enough, it was Kyle Lewis and the 01. They got together after the start-finish line, kind of a completely separate incident there, Garrett, and unfortunately the 01 and the 18 get a little damage from that.
Wow, Peter, I'm glad you rolled that replay through because I thought those guys, the 18, the 01, they made it through that. I thought all the action was behind them. And poor Daniel Buttafuoco, he is not having the best super speedway experience, but it still looks like he's running up near the front. I don't know what he has left, but whatever he's using for luck tonight, the horseshoe, the rabbit's foot, it must be working a little bit because he's still running out there.
John Borst, on the other hand, missing the front end on his machine, so he will have to come down pit road in the Dizzy Paranormal Society machine. Come to that pit crew, see if they can find a spare bumper somewhere. So we'll see whether or not that happens or not, but he's going to drop well back in the field. But this will be advantageous to drivers like Stephen Kegman, who will now have an opportunity to try and go for the win. And why not, Garrett? If you're Stephen Kegman right now, you have a clean race car. We know that. You're not in the chase, so you don't have anything really to lose. There's no title on the line. Just a race win. We've seen him go to victory lane here before at Daytona. He went, I think, from 7th to the lead in the final lap of that race. Might we see something similar here tonight out of the 22 at Kegman?
Peter, I'm going to be honest with you. It's been a rough weekend for me. Giants lost. I got spun and coming out of turn 4 in our super speedway race yesterday. If the 22 wins tonight, it may very well kill me. So please, Stephen Kegman, do not win this race. But as we speak, in all seriousness, Doze is in the booth. Doze has won one of these races. Doze, why don't you tell us what you'd be doing if you're out on track right now in Stephen Kegman's position?
Well, if I was in Stephen's shoes, which we've both been in his shoes before, you got to find a teammate. And his closest teammate would be probably Bob Gianquinto in front of him or Jason Shu behind him. And you just got to link up with them in Discord and just say, guys, let's get to the front and, just survive this, take the white flag, and then just pick your way through the field. Because there's going to be a wreck somewhere on that white flag lap. It's avoiding it, just hoping one of your teammates survives it with you, just to give you that push. And here we go, taking the green flag with 4 laps to go.
We are coming to just 3 laps to go at Daytona. As I go across the start-finish line, Nick Cohan leads. Josh Gerlach behind him. Look at J.D. Laird starting to make some moves in his number 46 machine, trying to get to the back bumper of Daniel Buttafuoco. He, sure enough, is able to. As the 30 and 46 lock nose to tail once again. The front driver of Nick Cohan leaving Josh Gerlach down on the bottom side of the racetrack, kind of out to dry as Shane Ewing gets to the back. Now here comes Buttafuoco. J.D. Laird giving a shot to Buttafuoco down the backstretch. Buttafuoco going to go high. Ewing going lower. 3 wide for the race lead here, Garrett.
I had a feeling that third line was going to be the way to go, and you have 2 experienced teammates pushing each other, and let's see if they're able to make the lack of numbers work for them, even though realistically it probably shouldn't. But as I say that, it looks like Nick Cohan has that middle line with a pretty strong run as well.
Cohan and Ewing nose to detail going across the start-finish line. You couldn't separate the 21 and the 32 when they went across the stripe, I should say, as we got Robert Kenny behind the number 21 machine, as Robert Kenny all of a sudden coming up to the front in his Wingstop machine. We mentioned earlier in the race he was having a quiet race, and sometimes a quiet race at Daytona is what you want. It means you're not involved in many of the accidents, and he finds himself there in the third position, doing all he can to push Nick Cohan up towards the front here. Doze, we're coming now down to the white flag.
Yeah, we're 2x2. Kyle Lewis threw his hat in the mix here. In qualifying, I did see J.D. Laird and Daniel Puerto line up doing their qualifying lap, so it is no surprise here on this penultimate lap that they are locked up. White flag, next flag ends the race. Good luck, everyone.
Working their way through turn number 1 and 2. We will not have overtime here in the Total Nonstop Racing Polyhedral Cathedral 172. Halfway down the backstretch, Cohan and Ewing, they are still pretty much glued together on the timing charts as they head towards turn number 3 and 4. Look at Robert Kenny. Gave a bad bump to Nick Cohan. They separate on the high line. What can Josh Gerlach do? Will Ewing throw a block? The high line. They get together possibly, but here comes Shane Ewing. Ewing will play spoiler at Daytona and go to victory lane here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. And out of all that, the highest place finisher from the drivers in the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix chase. Believe it or not, folks, it's going to be Tristan Maher, third place. Josh Gerlach going to complete the podium in second. But guys, what a finish. Garrett, the 32, gets the job done. As you said, charging his way up to the front.
Heck of a run by Shane Ewing there in the 32, the fat Dale Earnhardt Jr. Hopefully we could lube him up and get him out of that car for our post-race interview. But Tristan Maher coming home in third, taking this first race of the chase and making a play to his advantage. That's going to play huge with Martinsville coming up next week. And we all know what happens at Martinsville. If there's a wreck, you could get bottlenecked and there could be a chaos. So capitalize on tonight's race and get as many points as you can.
And Shane Ewing getting a little bit sideways already to celebrate his win here tonight. AC Miller in the 05 coming on by to give him a little bit of a congratulatory wave. But Doze, I mean, you have to give it to the number 32 machine. Shane Ewing was definitely very quick here tonight. Led a good amount of laps and finally able to get the job done in that late race shootout.
Yeah, and speaking of Dale Earnhardt, he was a big plate racer, and before the race he did say Dale Earnhardt Jr. So it's only fitting that Shane takes home the checkered flag tonight as he's going flying through the grass, enjoying his Monday night series win, first round of the chase playoffs here.
Yeah, so a driver not in the chase is going to walk away with the win here tonight, and you can see one very happy camper, that is for sure. And of course, getting the win here at Daytona International Speedway, Garrett, always special to get the job done here.
Certainly one of those places as you embark on your sim racing career that you want to get a W. And I'm not bragging for our league here, but to win one for Total Nonstop Racing with the competitors we have in the fields that we have has to mean a lot. So congratulations again, Shane. But can't sell any of these guys short that ran into the top 5 because they all did a great job. Josh Gerlach coming home in second. I believe this is Shane's his first win of the season. It might be his first TNR win. I'd have to look, but
I believe it is. Now, the one thing I am currently doing is I'm currently scouring the Discord that we have here to see if Tristan Maher is available for a post-race interview, and unfortunately, I am not currently seeing Thuggy in.
Yeah, he had to go, Peter. He said he has family issues to take care of, so we'll catch up with Thuggy next week, perhaps.
All right. Well, hopefully we can do so here in due time on the channel. But congratulations to Tristan Maher for coming up here tonight and finishing in the third position. But that will allow us to go straight to the second place interview. Let's see if we can dial up tonight's runner-up and pole sitter here, Garrett, Josh Gerlach. I believe you've caught up with him.
Hey Josh, it's Garrett up in the booth. Congratulations on the second place finish. You started from the pole. I'm sure you wanted to finish first and match that, but you came home second behind one of your teammates. Give me a summary of how your night was and what it was like racing out there tonight.
Yeah, I was very surprised to take the pole. I was not expecting that at all. You let us know that we were doing the group qualifying in practice, so that kind of changed up the game plan a little bit. I was actually going to just ride in the back for at least half of the race, but caught the draft really well in qualifying and ended up on P1. And man, I'm so pumped for Shane. It was awesome getting to push somebody from Dizzy. We had all three of us up there, and then Tim came flying from the back on the last restart. That was a crazy race.
When you guys have a big team such as Dizzy Motorsports, all you guys are fast. What are the team orders when it comes to a super speedway race? Do you guys say the last lap, have at it, or is it whoever's leading at the last restart, we're going to push you? How do you guys go about that?
Nothing too crazy, to be honest. It's just really going out there and trying to put everybody in the best chance to get their best finish. Nobody was like, hey, you got to push Shane or push Nick. Just trying to kind of figure out the restart where Nick wanted to go, because we had couple teammates, I think Daniel and JD kind of linked up too, and we knew that they were real fast. So no real team orders per se, just try to get good finishes for everybody on the team, and thankfully we were able to do that for the most part.
Well, unfortunately, you didn't make our chase this season, but you come home second in our first chase event. Next week, we're heading to Martinsville, which I'm sorry for everybody for putting that on the schedule. What are your thoughts going into Martinsville? You think you could back it up with another top 5 run?
Oh, I don't know. It's going to be Martinsville, I think. It was cool for Shane and I to steal that one from the Chase guys. It's cool. I think that's the first win Shane's had for the team, or at least in a while. So, like I said, if it couldn't be me, just super excited for Shane. And hopefully the rest of Dizzy can have a good second race to the Chase. I know we got kind of banged up there, so hopefully they can recover and have a good stretch for the last 4 races.
Well said, Josh. Congratulations on your second place, and good job by your entire team. I'll let you go, and I think Peter Short is catching up with our race winner, Shane Ewing.
Yeah, that is right. That is right, Garrett. I am down here in Victory Lane with Shane Ewing, tonight's race winner. I'll tell you what, it was one heck of a night for the driver of that number 32, getting that job done by holding off quite a few late race charges from the number 21 machine of Nick Cohan. But we all know Nick sucks and Shane is awesome. Shane, congratulations on getting the win here tonight. Tell us about it.
Man, it's been a long time coming. I've been close in some of these restrictor plate tracks, and finally get a win for Dizzy Motorsports. They signed me on a couple years ago, and this first win with the team, and man, I can't thank them enough. We all worked together really, really well, and to come home with the victory. I mean, hell, man, I'm 49 years old. To be able to race with these young guys and get one here. This one's for the old fat guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, this one is definitely proving very popular in the chat as well here tonight. And guys, make sure you give a thumbs up for Shane Ewing for that comment, because I'm quickly getting there myself. But, a great race here tonight, Shane. It seemed like you were up there towards the front of the pack for a good majority of the night. Was that your game plan, to try and stay in front of the big one, because it always appeared to happen right behind you?
Yeah, that was the game plan going in, but then it didn't take long to figure out that we were going to have to save some fuel to try and make it if the race went green the whole way. So we were balancing, trying to stay in front of the mess and still be able to make it on fuel at the end. So when that caution came out, that kind of went out the window, and then it was just try and get as close to the front or at the front and stay there after the caution.
Well, you definitely did a good job of really managing the race. And sometimes these super speedway races are all about managing where you are at what time, and you did a spectacular job of that, especially there in the closing stages. How nerve-wracking was it racing side by side there with Nick Cohan on the white flag lap, knowing that you two were just trading that lead little bit by little, kind of all the way over the final 3 laps?
really the only stress was not screwing it up. Nick's a playoff driver, and I didn't want to cause any mess that affected his playoff run or anybody else's for that matter. But at the same point, I haven't won one of these races, and I wanted to win one really, really bad. So that was the only stress. I put myself in a position where I just had to hold that pedal down and keep the wheel straight and hope that I was first across the line, and that's what happened.
Absolutely. Definitely playing spoiler on those chase drivers here tonight at Daytona International Speedway. Congratulations on getting the win. I know you got some people to give a shout out to, so let's hear it.
Yeah, and sorry, it's going to take me a little while. I don't get to get up here very often, but first of all, I got to thank all of my teammates at Dizzy Motorsports, Chambrone, Cohan, Tim, John, Anthony, Josh. If I'm forgetting somebody, I'm sorry. My mom, who watches these things every week and has for years. Thanks, Mom. I love you. My wife, Christina. My daughters, Haley and Ashley. You guys at TNR and 3Y TV just do a hell of a job. I really enjoy going back and watching the races. Rayovac Batteries, Toyota, everybody. Thank you very much.
Well, definitely awesome to have you up here in the booth, Shane, and in Victory Lane here tonight at Daytona. Of course, we got Martinsville on the horizon next week from the 2.5 mile Daytona Super Speedway to the very short track known as the Paperclip. What are your thoughts about going to Martinsville next week?
Martinsville's a tough place for me. I've never been all that good there. It's in a way, it's kind of like Daytona. You got to keep out of the mess. And just put yourself in good position and hope you got a car towards the end. Some of my teammates at Dizzy Motorsports are really, really good there. They're strong everywhere. So I'd really expect one of my Dizzy Motorsports teammates, DeBarro, Cohan, one of those guys to be a threat. Tim Johnston, he's a threat everywhere. One of those guys will really do well, and hopefully I can stay close to him.
Absolutely. Definitely awesome to have you, like I said, here in Victory Lane here tonight, Shane, and best of luck next week in Martinsville.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our post-race interview with our race winner of Shane Ewing. And I believe maybe we can get a quick word in with Bob Giaquinto here, who walked home with a 13th place finish. Doze, I think you've caught up with Bob.
Hey, Bob, this is Doze in the 3Y TV booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Hey, so how was it? First night on track in a while. Take a break out of the commentary booth. Tell us about tonight.
Man, it was a good one. I had a bit of strategy there. I know you and I were kind of hanging back in the back of the pack there until the first caution or so. Caught a little bit of damage on the first restart there. Got a pretty lucky break with that second yellow, and just kind of made my way up through the field. And that last restart, man, I just got stuck behind. I think it was the 14, had a bit of damage, had to drop all the way to the back of the pack there, and tried to claw back what little I could. But man, that was a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, you survived. More than half the field maybe. Took a little bit of damage on tonight's race, but it's good to see you out on track with all of us. We do appreciate you and Peter in the booth. I mean, you guys do a superb job. You talk to all the drivers; they love the broadcast. So it's nice to see you on track with us and get to call you up here and get some interviews with you instead of vice versa.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's weird being on this side of the interview thing. I'm used to the one, being the one giving the interviews instead of being interviewed. So, but no, I'll take it. It's always a good time to be up there in the booth. I'll definitely be back here for, I think we're at Martinsville next week. So I'm looking forward to be back upstairs in the booth instead of down there on the track, especially at a short track. I'm a weapon out there.
Yeah, I'll be a weapon there with Garrett. We'll be in the back, probably a few laps down. But hey, it's all in good fun Monday nights. You had a great weekend. I know you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. They won. Top 15 finish tonight, So overall, it's been a good weekend for you, Bob.
Yeah, I'll take it. Between the Eagles winning, Rutgers winning on Saturday, me here getting a top 15, I'll consider that a win too.
Well, Bob, that's it for me. Peter or Garrett,
I got one, Dust. Now, Bob, don't take this the wrong way, but it might have taken 2 guys to fill in for you tonight, but we fit into your chair. So I just wanted you to know that. But at the same time, could you just Polyhedral Cathedral was the sponsor of tonight's race. They were on your car. Could you just tell everybody a little bit about them and where to check out their stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Polyhedral Cathedral, anything Dungeons and Dragons related, or any of those, super nerdy kind of games, you got to check them out. My buddy Bronson does awesome work. He'll laser engrave any surface that you can. So he'll do like battle maps, character sheets, if you want to memorialize your D&D character and have some pretty cool looking wall art. He's got that. He also makes some dice towers, dice trays, dice racks. And all that kind of stuff. You can check him out on social media at Polyhedral Cathedral. He's big on Instagram as well. Actually makes his own dice, and he'll do some. He'll go live and do some live dice pooling and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you check him out. Social media at Polyhedral Cathedral on Facebook and Instagram.
We appreciate it, Bob. Appreciate them stepping up and sponsoring, and it's always nice to have you out there. And you just disappointed me a little bit. I was expecting a top 10. Maybe next time.
Next time. If I'm not behind someone who got a little bit of damage there on the last restart, I probably would have been up there contending for the win. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. It was a good time out there, and I'm looking forward to being up there in the booth next week.
Well, Bob, we appreciate the interview. We're going to end it on this. Being an Eagles fan, I think you'll know how to end this. Go
Birds.
I'm shaking my head. I'm going to remove both of them from the broadcast booth.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, I'm a Cowboys fan, so they're both now in their own little Eagles world now. So hey, we do have some things left to do. I'm sure if Stay Tuned Sports is still around, he might have something to say about that as well. But one thing we have to talk about, Garrett, is the Shibby Shack Dash for Cash, and I believe it is Jason Shue who will be picking that up here tonight in the number 3 machine with his 11th place finish. But let's bring up the final race results for everyone at home, and we'll make sure that these don't get overlaid from one another. And there we go. That's looking better. Shane Ewing, Josh Gerlach, 1-2. We got a quick word with them. Tristan Maher unable to get an interview with the 98, but he's going to finish 3rd here tonight. The highest finishing driver in the Thornton Graphix chase, which that could be extremely important by the end of the year. 4th spot, Robert Kenny. Quiet night for Robert Kenny in the Wingstop Toyota Supra, but comes home with a solid 4th place finish, popping up right there at the end when it matters most. Tim Johnson in 5th. Kyle Lewis in 6th, Nick Cohan in 7th, Daniel Buttafuoco, who got pushed back. Same thing with Nick Cohan right there in the run to the checkered flag. Both of those drivers kind of fell back, finishing 7th and 8th. J.D. Laird and Nick Chambrone rounding out your top 10 there, Garrett.
Coming home 11th, Jason Shue in the number 3. He also won our Polyhedral Cathedral Dash for Cash, as you alluded to. In 12th place, my rival, Stephen Kegman. I expected better, Kegman. You had a chance at that last restart. I hope you had damage or something, because that was pathetic. Bob Giaquinto comes home in 13th. The wild child, John Cannizzaro, comes home at 14th, but put on a heck of a show. Casey Miller, who was eligible for our Dash for Cash, comes home in 15th. The Ninja Warrior himself, Philip Scott, in 16th. Kevin Stone, who was also eligible for our Dash for Cash, comes home in 17th. And John Borst, who did not have a front end by the end of the race, comes home in 18th.
Yeah, finishing down in the 19th position here tonight is Matthew Rodriguez. Won last night here in Total Nonstop Racing. Wasn't able to back that up here tonight. Bill Edwards in 20th spot after having connection issues early in the race and being involved in an accident. Vincent Valvano, 21st. Jason Gracias, 22nd. Jason Freeman, 23rd. Chris Cabot in 24th. Briar Fritz, 25th. Stephen Doziak, 26th. And probably the biggest surprise here tonight at Daytona was Anthony DeBarro calling his own number 27th position in the number 27 Toyota Supra. Not a good night for Anthony DeBarro. Benjamin Fanning, coming home in 28th position, and he was the last driver to start here tonight, as both Garrett Gleason and Justin White did not start the 69-lap race here tonight. A very nice number of laps at Daytona International Speedway. But definitely going to be a lot of fun here next week, Garrett, when we head over to the Martinsville Speedway, race number 2 of the Thornton Graphix Chase. Anything can happen at Martinsville. We say anything can happen here at Daytona, but Martinsville's going to be up for game. I know Anthony DeBarro is going to come roaring back. He's very good on short tracks. We'll keep an eye on him. We know Buttafuoco is very fast. We know Tom Johnson's very fast, but then we also have drivers like Philip Scott, the number 98, Tristan Maher, with something to prove. Can Maher carry that momentum he got here at Daytona to next week at Martinsville, Garrett?
I certainly hope so, because Dougie's just a guy you want to root for. But like you said, anything could happen at Martinsville. I think track position is going to be the key to the game next week. You want to get out front and stay out front, away from all the craziness, and just hope something doesn't happen when you're lapping a guy and you get bottlenecked. But Peter, I appreciate you having me up here as always. I hope the next time I'm up here we also have a 69 lap race and you can explain to me what the joke is, because I just don't get it.
Well, we would have to have probably a pretty long discussion on that one. But hey, it is what it is, guys. We really appreciate each and every one of you joining us here tonight in the 3Wide TV chat. It's been a lot of fun. Daytona always puts on a show for the fans back at home. Have a good night, folks. Stay safe, and we shall see you next week here on 3Wide TV. See ya!